We got you updated. This is Radio Imanzi News in English.
You are tuned to Radio Imanzi, broadcasting from Kigali. Here is the news in English, brought to you by Fiona Umuganwa. The headlines. President Paul Kagame called King Charles III to express his condolences to the British royal family following the death of Queen Elizabeth II last week. Teachers from Gatsibo district are planning a campaign to help school dropouts return to school. The UK has demanded that its export to Kenya be exempted from the newly raised East African Community tax charges that took effect on July 1st. Welcome back. News in detail. President Paul Kagame called King Charles III to express his condolences to the British royal family following the death of Queen Elizabeth II last week. The president's phone call comes as world leaders continue to pay their respects to the longest reigning British monarch who died peacefully at Balmoral Castle in Scotland on September 8th. This was noted on the president's Twitter page, where he said he had the opportunity to express through a phone conversation his sincere condolences to His Majesty King Charles III for the passing of his mother, Her late Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. The president added that Rwanda looks forward to working together with King Charles III to move the Commonwealth agenda forward in service of all our citizens. President Paul Kagame assumed the chairmanship of the Commonwealth in June this year when Rwanda hosted the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. Prime Minister Edward Ngirente is in Luanda for the inauguration of Angolan President João Lourenço, who won a second term last month. President Lourenço was today sworn in after securing a narrow win in what has been described as the tightest race in the country's history. Dr. Ngirente, who's representing President Paul Kagame, joined several heads of state and government and other dignitaries from across Africa and beyond at the event. The incumbent campaigned on an anti-corruption platform, promising to further press on with his political commitments with courage and responsibility. He won 51.17% of the vote, and his victory was later upheld by the court. Rwanda and Angola have in recent years taken steps to deepen bilateral ties, including signing 13 new agreements last year covering several sectors, including justice, human rights, mining, natural resources, among others. Both countries are members of the International Conference on Great Lakes Region, an 11-nation grouping currently chaired by President Lourenço. The Angolan leader has in recent years been a key player in efforts to find lasting peace in the Great Lakes region, including mediating talks between Rwanda and DRC. Since construction experts discover that water management is important as building activities continue to expand rapidly, more than 50 construction equipment suppliers from 15 African countries and beyond exhibited in Kigali the latest building materials. Manzi Prince has more on this report.
Housing experts show that percentage of building in cities will increase to 35% in 2024 from 18.4% in 2017. So the country needs to create construction that consider environmental protection and proper water management. Stephen Sabiti, the Executive Secretary of the Rwandan Engineers Association, and Nyirinyindi Emmanuel, the Executive Secretary of the Rwandan Architect Association, noted that water management and sustainable construction go with protecting water.
We want to bring in professionalism. Yeah, we want people to do things in a proper way, in a way that is not, wasting resources. Yeah, in a way that is efficient, effective, yeah, and brings the aspect of sustainability.
As Rwanda is aiming at becoming a center of sustainable urbanization, we can't really separate building to services now. If you're buying a tap, if you're buying a toilet seat, if you're buying any equipment or sanitaries, they have to have that component of sustainability, because we don't just build houses that we consume more than what we spend on, but also give us the benefit that we expect from it.
Figures from the Rwanda Water Resources Board show that each person regularly uses 670 cubic meters of water per year, but the goal is for each person to be able to utilize 1,700 cubic meters per year in 2050. According to Marceline Kaitesi, the Director General in charge of water and sanitation, quality housing and clean water are beneficial to people. So the country's goal is to ensure that every citizen has access to clean water by 2024.
Yeah, their contribution, we are even encouraging them to, to ensure that there is the partnership. We can't work alone as Rwandans, and of course we need to learn from others. So it's providing an opportunity and serves as partnership opportunities so that our Rwandan companies can have partnerships with companies that are from abroad to make sure that we perform better in terms of quality, producing quality materials and quality equipments that are needed in the water, sanitation and construction.
During the 3-day exhibition for Water Africa and East African Building and Construction, more than 50 construction equipment investors from 15 African countries and beyond exhibited the latest equipment used in construction. Vimal Vagela from Kenya came to show different types of water equipment, and George Jihana from Rwanda showed the solar system equipment used in irrigation. Both believe they have answers to some of the problems mentioned in the exhibition for water and construction.
Yes, Rwanda is a very, very potential market because it's a very quality conscious market. They do not take nonsense for poor quality. We have showcased here physical samples from Kenya. We have brought them here for you to see what we can actually supply to the Rwandese.
We have water filters that can treat water, WASAC water for home, domestic. We have a system that can treat water for hospitals, schools. So the system is big compared to the demand. And we have also a system that can treat rainwater, a system that can treat river water. So based on the location and where people need it. And we have also a system for solar pumping system.
Tracy Nolashaw, CEO of AC Events Management in the UK, which also organized this event, says that every time she comes to Rwanda, she sees changes in construction and many programs, including those that support water.
It's wonderful to be back here again, to actually see projects taking place on water and sanitation and construction. And with working all over Africa, Rwanda is definitely on the right track and is a beacon to the rest of Africa. It's just absolutely amazing.
While 98% of Rwanda's water comes from inside the country, the 2013 to 2014 Rwanda Households Survey showed that 17.4% of households capture rainwater, while the increase of land use has now reached 2%. Rwanda needs 150,000 houses every year between 2020 and 2050, including more than 2.3 million houses that will be in cities due to rapid population growth. Mans Prince, Radio Imanzi.
The Ministry of Family and Gender Promotion has called on the National Women's Council to increase efforts in combating child malnutrition and other family issues such as conflicts that prevent families from developing. Minister Baisenya Janet requested that the council work with local authorities in the village where they live to solve the problems. She said fighting malnutrition helps children grow healthy and strong, resulting in strong people who will work and build the country. Teachers from Gatsibo district are planning to work with educational organizations on a 2-week campaign to help school dropouts return. Siwamana Saidi, the president of the district council, said the number of school dropouts has increased and thus they have discovered that the children are dropping out of school to find paid work, particularly in swamp cultivation or mine work. He noted the increasing efforts to combat the problem and help them return to school. Gatsibo district has 170,000 students and 169 classrooms, including 14 technical and vocational schools. The district says they plan to finish building 100 more classrooms by the start of the next school trimester in September, and they anticipate 500 new teachers in the district. We shall come back with economic items after the advertisement.
Urifuza kumenya ubuhinzi ndetse n'ubucuruzi bw'indabo bukorera mu Rwanda. Bella Flowers ni umushinga ugamije guteza imbere ubuhinzi bw'indabo ndetse no kuzamura ubucuruzi ku isoko mpuzamahanga. Nyarukira kuri YouTube channel ya Radio Imanzi wirebera ubuhinzi bw'indabo muri Bella Flowers. Witinda kora subscribe kugira ngo urusheho kujya usobanukirwa byimbitse ku buhinzi ndetse n'ubucuruzi bw'indabo binyuze muri Bella Flowers.
Economic news is a regular feature on Radio Imanzi. The government says Rwanda's economy grew 7.5% in the second quarter of 2022, thanks in large part to the services and industry sectors. The outlook is contained in the latest gross domestic product update released by the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning. It says from April to June, the monetary value of all finished goods and services produced in Rwanda was estimated at 3,279 billion Rwandan francs, up from 3,025 billion Rwandan francs in the previous quarter. According to the official figures, services related to hospitality registered high growth, notably meetings, conferences, and other events. Hotels and restaurants grew by 193%, transport activities by 27%, and education by 14%. Financial services grew by 10%, with information and communication growing 8%. Meanwhile, agriculture grew by only 2%, while industry grew by 6%. The Rwanda Stock Exchange Market Report. The trading session recorded a turnover of 1,458,600 Rwandan francs from 5,400 shares of Bank of Kigali traded in 2 deals on the equities market and 1,015,000 Rwandan francs worth of bonds traded in 1 deal on the fixed income market. Bank of Kigali closed the counter at 272 Rwandan francs, and the rest of the equities counters closed with Bralirwa at 164 Rwandan francs, I&M Bank at 43 Rwandan francs, Simirwa at 120 Rwandan francs, MTN Rwanda at 176 Rwandan francs, Equity Bank at 440, Kenya Commercial Bank at 370, National Media Group at 1,200, Uchumi Supermarket at 104, and RH Buffalo closed the counter at 526 Rwandan francs as the market closed. The currency market review of today. The Kenyan shilling buying price was 8.5 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 8.7 Rwandan francs. Tanzanian shilling buying price was 0.441 and the selling price was 0.449. The Ugandan shilling buying price was 0.26 and the selling price was 0.27. Burundian franc buying price was 0.49 and the selling price was 0.5. The US dollar buying price was 1,027 and the selling price was 1,048. The British pound buying price was 1,185 and the selling price was 1,208. The euro buying price was 1,025 and the selling price was 1,045.
Some items of international news on Radio Imanzi.
The United Kingdom has demanded that its exports to Kenya be exempted from the newly raised East African Community tax charges that took effect on July 1st, posing a big dilemma for Nairobi, which is bound by the regional bloc's decisions. Trade Principal Secretary Johnson Weru said the UK demands that Kenya abide by the provisions of an economic partnership agreement signed between the two nations, a request that, if granted, could trigger similar demands from other nations. In a deal struck on May 5, 2022, by the partner states of the East African Community, the common external tariff for imports entering the bloc has been raised by up to 35% from July 1st. The levy is imposed on imported finished products from non-member states in a strategy to stimulate local industry and production. A humanitarian catastrophe is imminent in Somalia and the Horn of Africa, according to the joint assessment of the International Committee of the Red Cross and the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, following months of food security assessments. The number of people in dire need of emergency humanitarian assistance in Somalia has increased from 4.1 million at the beginning of 2022 to 7.1 million and is expected to continue to grow. Francesco Roca, president of the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, said 22 million people living in the Horn of Africa are already in the clutches of a growing food crisis. He said the situation is expected to deteriorate into 2023 and what is being done was minimal compared to the huge needs of the region. Peter Morrell, the outgoing president of the International Committee of the Red Cross, warned that if the international community waits to take action until famine is officially declared, we know that it will already be too late. Flooding across Sudan has killed at least 20 people over the past week. Sudanese officials announced raising the official death toll from the floods since the rainy season began in May to 134. The office of Brigadier General Abdul Jalil Abdul Rahim, the leader of Sudan's National Council for Civil Defense, said an additional 120 people were injured from the past week's flooding. Torrential downpours throughout August and early September, the peak of Sudan's rainy season, have washed away roads, houses and vital infrastructure across the country, cutting off supply lines to rural areas in need of humanitarian aid. According to the United Nations' latest flooding report, some 286,400 people have been affected by the floods and 16,900 homes have been destroyed. With that, we come to the end of tonight's edition.